What's going on, guys? It's Catfish with Catfish Racing here, and today I'm bringing you the BMW Z4 E89 at the Nürburgring Sprint Track. As you can see, I get off to a little bit of a late start here, but that's just because I wasn't paying attention in the very beginning. My puppy was distracting me. So coming into turn one, I end up overshooting this a little bit, but you'll be able to see that I recover pretty nicely. One of the AI turned into me, but there's nothing I can really do about that. As you can see, it gives me a pretty good bump right there. And then we're starting to head into turn two. Turn two, I start to feel out the car a little bit better. I can definitely tell that it wants to stick to the road. Using the paddle shifters on the back of my TMX Pro wheel, definitely very crisp feeling. Definitely worth the investment. It was $250 at GameStop. I'm not even sure if they sell them anymore, so I'm glad I grabbed it whenever I did. I've had that wheel for about 2 years now. I'm also using the T3PA pedals. It's got the clutch, brake, and gas. And I'm using the TH8A shifter, which is a sequential shifter, along with an H pattern shifter. It can switch in between. The shifter itself was around $240, but I definitely highly recommend picking one up if you're serious about sim racing. The cockpit that I'm using is a $180 cockpit that I picked up on Amazon. It's got a leather racing seat that's fully adjustable. You can slide it back and forth, lean it however you want to, as long as well as the wheel adjusts too. The way Assetto Corsa feels in 2021, to answer that question, I would say that it feels fantastic. It is an absolutely fantastic feeling game. The graphics could use a little bit of work. It is dated, it shows its age, but at the same time, there are many mods that you can pick up to increase the graphical fidelity of this game. So, real quick, I just want to touch on mental health. Just want to make sure everybody's taking care of themselves during these crazy times in quarantine. I know a lot of people are suffering from depression just from not being able to get out with their friends. A lot of people are suffering from anxiety over lost jobs, myself included. So, I just want to make sure that everybody's taking care of themselves, and this is your daily reminder just to take a minute, breathe a little bit, and take some time for yourself. As you can see right here, I bump into that guy. I keep overshooting turn one, and then we end up getting in a little bit of a battle going through turn one. For the future of the channel, I just want to talk about, what kind of content would you guys like to see? I have Assetto Corsa, Dirt Rally 2.0. There's a lot of things that I really want to bring to this channel. My iRacing series didn't do as well as I was hoping, but that's okay. iRacing is more of a streaming game, and with my current internet, there's no way that I could stream iRacing at all. But back to the way this game feels, the force feedback in this game is fully adjustable, but I found that on the default settings, it feels the absolute best. You can really feel the road in the wheel. You can really feel the car sticking to the road in the wheel. It gives it just enough resistance to where you don't feel like you're flying all over the place, but at the same time, you don't feel like the car is fighting you. Now, right there, I started to get a little bit sideways, and coming into this turn right here, I'm really starting to get a feel for this car. I'm in third, and I'm trying to work my way up to first, and you guys will see me start making some moves here to increase my speed, brake a little bit later, starting to get a really good feel for this car. Now, coming into this little chicane section right here, I end up kind of hitting the curb, not really the way that I wanted to, but I had a good recovery. It didn't really bump me off too badly. So we're coming into the next turn now. And this is where I really start to get that car to stick right here as I apex this turn and hammer down and start trying to catch up a little bit and close some of that gap. Now coming back into turn one, right here is where I make my move. I go to try to take the inside right here, and the AI turn into me like they have every time I've tried to take the inside of that turn. Now from here on out, it's pretty much just me in first place. The AI really never did catch back up, but the AI in this game is adjustable. Right now, I've got them set to 80% of their total difficulty because, well, to be completely honest, at 100%, I couldn't even catch them on the track if I wanted to. Now, to start out with this game, if you want to do the career mode, you're going to start out in a Fiat 500, and it's not a very good impression of the game. The cars handle very, very, very poorly. They're almost impossible to be able to race against the other Fiats that they want you to race against. The front-wheel drive cars in this game are just bad. There's no other way to say it. They don't feel right. They don't handle right. You can late brake into a turn and get right back on it and apex it perfectly, and it still feels like you're just going to fly right off the track. Now coming into this turn right here, I really start to push the limits of the traction on this car a little bit. I'm running with no traction control, no ABS, and no stability control at all. I do not like having those on whenever I play a racing game. It's just a personal preference. If you guys need it or if you guys want to play with that on, hey, that's all you. Now, the future content of this channel, I definitely intend to bring some Dirt Rally into this channel, some Dirt Rally 2.0 to be excuse me. It's going to be fun. I enjoy rally racing a bunch, and Dirt Rally is always a game that I've wanted to master, and I've never been able to. I've never really attempted to due to my job, but now that I am laid off because of COVID, I have all the time in the world to try to master the game. Assetto Corsa, for its current price, the $40 to pick up all the DLC, it's worth it if you're into sim racing. If you enjoy racing games at all, you'll definitely enjoy Assetto Corsa. Now, I do recommend using a setup with a controller. It is a little bit more on the rough side. You're going to have to play with some assists on if you want to do it with a controller. And that's not, an option. You have to play with the assists on. Because even with the fine controls of a racing wheel, I'm still finding myself sliding around quite a bit. Now, as you can see, I'm not turning the wheel all the way, so in a controller, you either got all the way or just a little bit. You don't get the same fine control that you do with a racing wheel. As you can see, I'm starting to make some pretty good progress on my laps here. I'm starting to really feel out this car. The BMW Z4 handles really, really well in this game. The only thing that I'm not a fan of are the paddle shifters. I would just much prefer a H-pattern shifter. My view on this game is set to 90 degrees. I can see 90 degrees. I just feel like that's a pretty good all-around view on this game. Now, as far as iRacing goes, iRacing, I set it at over 100, and I still feel like I'm right up on the dash. I don't know what the deal with the view settings on that are, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. And as you can see, we're coming up onto the final turn here. Going to hit this turn pretty hard because I'm way out ahead. I want to see what I can do. And we're back on the gas. And that's it. So make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Catfish signing off.